After Alice regained consciousness, she immediately asked about the fireside incident again. She did blame Judy on the administration. Justine couldn't stand it and wanted to defend herself, but Judy silenced her. Alice also decided to join the Yaksha and administration divisions. Alice then began training as a counter and CRF. Alice visited a workshop managed by Justine, and she found the gauntlet worn by Commander Lionel. As soon as Alice touched it, Alice immediately set off an alarm, and Justine saw Alice touching Lionel's gauntlet. Justine was angry and warned her that Lionel's Beast Claw gauntlet would put an extraordinary burden on his body. Alice then challenged herself to use the Beast Claw, one of the administration's Tech Level 5 weapons. As expected, Alice failed to use the Beast Claw. Later, Justine asked Alice to buy her snacks at the Apocalypse convenience store. While shopping, Alice met Lee So-yeon, a talented person in the administration. Na Yu-bin also came after Lee So-yeon because the master was calling them. Alice was surprised to see that the children were also registered to fight.
A few days later, Alice was reunited with the Fenrir members, starting with the tomboyish Lee So-young, then the childish Hilde and Na Yu-bin. Judy introduced Fenrir to Alice. Fenrir was the strongest division, especially their commander, Hilde. Alice was surprised because the Fenrir commander turned out to be a child, but Judy interrupted and prevented Alice from saying the word child because it offended Hilde. Judy spoke briefly with Hilde so that Alice could be included in the operation to Bermuda Point. This was so that Alice could observe Fenrir's fight and learn from them. Hilde agreed if Alice just watched. After the Bermuda Point operation was completed, Alice began training with Lee So-yeon. Even during practice, Alice copied Lee So-yeon's habit to shout her skill moves.
3 months later, Judy explained that Yaksha would dive to the counter side. Usually, they would survey the area using a dimensional ship. If Alice joined this dive, she would most likely meet a Shadow-type CO. Alice agreed to come along. 1 week later, she came to the hangar and boarded the dimensional ship with the Yaksha. Judy explained that the purpose of this dive was to find Lionel, who was missing in action. Their ship began to jump. Upon arriving at the area, CO began to ambush their ship, and all members began to work to defeat CO. After the first wave was defeated, Justine reported that the corruption rate increased and a doppelganger type similar to Alice appeared. This shadow also fought with a contrabass musical instrument. Judy and Alice immediately went to the location where the shadow appeared. Judy was shocked when she saw the shadow. She was a member of the Elysium Philharmonic and should have been a demon-type shadow, but the one in front of her eyes had the characteristics of a doppelganger and a demon at the same time. They started fighting and the shadow was defeated. The CO's core was then taken for Justine's research. After her research was complete, Justine concluded that the administration could trace back to location of the Philharmonic Hall, the headquarters of the Elysium Philharmonic Organization. Until now, their presence had been at a variable depth on the counterside, extremely difficult to track and reach. During a meeting, Judy proposed an ambush on the Philharmonic Hall. She wanted all the administration's mobile divisions to immediately destroy Elysium. In the middle of the meeting, Alice disrupted the meeting and interrupted the division leaders who were conducting a meeting for the Operation Curtain Call plan. Essentially, Alice questioned the fire incident and its consequences, which had occurred several months earlier. After the meeting, she explained what they had been hiding from her, especially Hive Control's computational ability, and that Judy could not save anyone except Alice. On the day the administration's ambush preparations were complete, the attack finally began. Sheena and Plaga, who were there at the time, panicked at the absence of Carmen and Chief Conductor Nikwitia. Sheena decided that if Plaga had to retrieve the Chief Conductor, she would fight the administration using Ecclesia's clones called Type A. They were clones created from Elysian Cardinal, Ecclesia's DNA, but could not inherit the stigmata of the original. One of the remaining clones in this war captured. She would later join the administration. She would become deputy commander of the 9th Division, the Maze Division, and work with Ludmila under the new name Alex. Sheena and the clones of Type A had already begun fighting against the administration coalition. In the midst of the battle, Maestra Nikwitia returned to the Philharmonic Hall. Ludmila Division's ship, came after to variable depth, received a report from the coalition forces that Maestra Nikwitia had arrived earlier than originally planned. Alice also joined the ship. Upon their arrival, they immediately assisted in defeating the elite members and Nikwitia.
The operation was won by the coalition forces from the Administration Division. This victory did not mean that core members like Niquitia, Sheena, Plaga, and Carmen were killed.